And welcome to a new video. So today I will speedrun and walk you through on how I got a Red Shockfield on a completely new account in literally just 3.5 hours in-game time without any help from anyone. It really wasn't that hard or even time consuming at all, so you could technically do it yourself very easily, which I honestly wouldn't recommend, but more on that later. Let's get started. First of all, we have to choose our character, and for this video specifically I chose Assault. You can of course choose the other characters as well, but for this challenge Heavy is unfortunately the worst class since it doesn't have any healing ability, which would make the process of getting the Shockfield a little more painful, but at the end it's just a time difference which honestly doesn't matter that much in the long run. Once we have our character we will immediately get started on the first mission, which is nothing special, so I will just speed this part up. Right now my goal is to get to level 4 to unlock contracts to get XP faster. Okay, so we completed the first mission and I got this HVM 002, which is nothing too crazy, but it's still a small upgrade in terms of damage, I guess. We also got to level 2, so I used my skill point for more movement speed. By the way, I will use all my other skill points except for one to level up movement speed, which will be important for this whole challenge. Right now I just keep playing on single player. Currently I'm on Vaccine and again there's not much to say or show, so I have to speed up the gameplay once again. We got 2 boxes, which is nice, but unfortunately I didn't got anything I could use. Yes, this HVM helmet had an upgrade, but at my level defense is really useless, so I just sold it. And here I'm getting the daily reward strongbox, which also had bad loot in it. Isn't that nice? So now we just need to play one more mission to unlock contracts. Now here I kind of made a terrible choice, because instead of playing Vaccine again I picked Survivors, which is good for money, don't get me wrong, but in terms of speedrunning, Vaccine would have been a better choice in my opinion, but I guess a little money boost cannot hurt. After the mission ended, we got to level 4, which means we finally unlocked contracts. I also got this weird 20, which is really good for handling multiple zombies, so I put Deadly on it and equipped it as well. So we are 15 minutes in, and now that we have unlocked contracts, here's the juicy part. I was actually really lucky with recording this video and the timing couldn't have been any better, but we already have an active XP contract, which I was aiming for to play anyways. If this wasn't available, I would have to rely on time skipping, so that's cool that I don't actually have to do it for this whole challenge. If you didn't know yet, XP contracts are by far the best way to level up your character, so that's what I'm going to play until I reach level 15. And once again, it's just going to be the same gameplay, so I will just show you all the XP gains and items I get. One thing I really hate about playing early contracts is that you can only level up once for some reason. Like on my first few levels, you probably saw that I'm always a little XP off until I hit the next level. I don't know the reason why that happens, but the game stops you from leveling up a second time by exactly 500 XP. While it does suck and slows me down for few minutes, it's unfortunately something we have to live with. Now I won't talk too much about the stuff I got in detail, since it would be annoying to edit and match the footage with my voiceover. But to sum it up really quick, I'm currently using the Ronson 65 that I got earlier, and in terms of armor, this is my gear. Unfortunately I didn't got any decent boots, but this won't stop us from getting the Shockfield. Right now I have 13 points in movement speed, 1 point in stim shot, and obviously 1 point in adrenaline. We are currently 53 minutes in, which is a fairly good time for our current progress, so let's keep going. Since we are now level 15, this is where the long grind begins. We will play on the faction game mode for the rest of this challenge, and some of you guys probably know where I'm going with this, but anyways, I try to join a backed factions at first for the next few minutes from the codes I saw on the SAS community Discord server, which you should definitely join if you need more guides or even people to play with with and all that. If you are wondering what bugged factions are, it basically means that the faction has no competition at all. So if you capture all the planets, you will get all the planet tokens without having to worry about another team taking them back. Unfortunately, none of the codes that tried worked, so I decided to just join a random faction. If we look into the armory, we can see that we have items such as the Red Stripper, which would be also a decent choice to buy. For bossing, if you are impatient with the grind, we will start doing in a bit. But we are here for the Red Shockfield, which costs 15,000 base credits and 1,000 planet tokens. So let's get to work. But first, I wanted to test out the Axe game mode, and yeah, there's not much to say other than it took a very long time to destroy each egg, which was really slow and not worth the time and effort for my level. But that's not the mode I plan to play anyways, because since Ninja Kiwi buffed the weights from terminals by 2 times a while ago, it's especially for low level players the best and most efficient mode to grind base credits. So we will only play this mode from now on, and I will show you how easy it actually is to get credits. Let's get into a game, and the only thing you have to do is to just want to reach terminal, hit it, and if you die, just repeat the process until you have enough credits. That's basically it, and I will spend the next 3-ish hours just doing that. You don't even need to kill the zombies unless they get in your way, but most of the time you will die from the damage ticks anyways. That's why medic and assault are more helpful in this game mode. It's just to survive longer, but at the end it's only a small time difference, but still. Anyways, I think right now is a good time to talk about some other things which might be important for you to know. So first of all, should you even grind factions that early on? My answer to that is no. You see, it's definitely a nice feeling to own something like a Red Shockfield below level 20, but objectively, instead of playing factions, it would make a lot more sense to just keep grinding XP contracts until you reach at least level 35 to unlock Nightmare mode, so that you have a source to get lots of money and strong boxes, which can already give you very good items such as the Red Jupiter and gear like Titan boots, Red Power Assist and so on. I mean, sure, you could grind factions to pick up the Red Stripper for example, in case you are unlucky with getting a good gun in a strong box in general, but personally I would just play XP contracts for as long as possible, in order to have lots of skill points that you can dump into movement speed and other important skills to make your grinds easier, faster and more efficient. Although I don't want to stop anyone from doing what I did in this video, so if you enjoy factions, then the method I show in this video is definitely not the worst way to play the game. And at the end of the day, you should do whatever you enjoy doing, even if it's not efficient at all. Like I myself actually enjoyed doing this challenge because it was something new for me, even though this account is pretty much a waste after that. But hey, I was bored and it's for content, so I'm fine with that. The only really annoying part about this process is that planet tokens are time locked, which means that you have to wait for these to fill up, which can be really annoying. Like I need 1000 planet tokens to get the Red Shockfield. Some items even need more resources, and per day you can only get up to 240, which really sucks. Luckily there's some sort of a passive way to get planet tokens, which you can do if you don't plan to play factions for a longer time. If you join a bugged faction and capture all the planets, you can actually gain planet tokens passively for well over 2 weeks, because for some reason, even if the faction war ends, you still keep getting planet tokens if you don't click the faction button during that time. That way you can stockpile planet tokens, which you can use later on. As I said earlier, keep in mind that you won't be able to grind base credits if you do this method, and that you will stop gaining planet tokens if you do click on the faction button, in which case you have to repeat the method if you want to gain planet tokens again. Also, a small shout out goes out to Inferno, from who I sort of got the inspiration to do this video. But other than that, that's pretty much everything important I had to say. There were some other things I wanted to say, but I think the other topics are not that relevant, and I still hope you guys learned something from this. So let's finally go back to the regular commentary. Right now we are on the final stretch, and I'm showing the final credit gains and all that. So after 3 hours and 31 minutes we finally got enough base credits. Unfortunately I had to wait a few days for the planet tokens to fill up, but once I came back a few days later I got 1200 of them. So now we can finally buy the Red Shockfield, and this honestly feels like cheating right now, and considering anyone can do this is really insane to me. Imagine if you grind 40,000 base credits and 2500 planet tokens to buy a fest. You are technically set for life on your character if you do this. But anyways, I'm going off topic right here. As you can see, it costs me 80,000 SAS cash just to upgrade Deadly once. And in total, you need about 23.8 million SAS cash to fully upgrade this weapon with Deadly, Overclocked and Adaptive. So as you can see, it might be not the best idea to grind factions at my level. I would highly recommend you to grind more XP so that you can get more money from survivors if you plan to grind lots of cash for your Shockfield if you actually end up doing this method. Because right now that Shockfield isn't too useful since ammo is really expensive at lower levels, so it's better to keep using your cheap weapons to save money on ammo etc. And this is how I got the Red Shockfield. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to check out the videos shown on screen right now.